Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. Debbie's already here and Linda Frazier. I see a couple people. They're showing up in comments. I don't know, what else is going to happen, but this, as you know, this is Teri from Holding Your Space. And she and I try to do this every 2 weeks. And today it's on my channel. And so I'm glad you guys are here. We got 9 hearty souls, 29 seconds in. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially with the delay on StreamYard.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Makes me crazy.
Yeah.
I tell
It's,
you, running your own channel is tough enough. But now that my son has his political channel, he's always calling me to ask me technical things. And I'm like, I don't know. I just turn it on and it works.
oh, hi, Marianne. How are you? 10 hearty souls. She said,
Oh,
count
yeah,
me
it's
in.
growing. It's growing. We'll get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. It grows fast. Um, yeah. I don't know how I do some of the stuff I do. And then when people ask me, I'm like, just push some buttons, maybe.
Well, yeah, I've been trying to explain monetization to him because he's just short of the number. For those of you who don't give a damn about this, you want to know about spiritual things. But part of being a spiritual person is if you get so many hours of video out there or shows out there, then you can get monetized. And so he's been working towards that. And man, his numbers have grown. I'm talking the wrong stuff, man. He did he does practical politics. He doesn't do talking head theory politics. He said how campaigns really work. And he he read that whole 2025 thing and broke it into 15 pieces and did little 20-minute shows about each of the pieces. I mean, that's what he does. So he's got a lot of stuff out there, and he went on Andre's show, Andre Carr,
Oh, wow. Yeah. I love Andre.
and Andre said, "What do you want to talk about?" I have a list of questions my people I sent out to my community. I was going to have a person who'd run political campaigns. He said, "Start at the top of the list." And Andre has, or at the time, Andre had just under 15, or right at 15,000 subscribers. Um, Within 24 hours, 35,000 people had seen that show.
Whoa.
People were sending it to their friends saying, "This guy's answering our questions." So, needless to say, he's going to be back on Andres. He's been with Linda G a couple times, and he thinks she's hysterical. Um,
She
and
is.
she is.
She's hilarious.
She is. And she said, "Why don't they tell us these things?" He's explaining like how polling numbers are really created. And he said, "I don't know." And she said, "How do you know it?" And he said, "I worked with someone who taught me." Finally, he fessed up that I was his mother. And so at the end of the last show she did with him, he said, "His mom's really smart and she makes these grids." Talking about me. So
I love that. Lori says that she's learning a lot from him, from Sean.
you can. And he teaches the stuff I'd like to teach to people, but it makes me very angry inside. That's a dark place for me. So I talk to him every day about it now. Hi, Engla. Anyway, poor Terry's already run a whole meditation thing. So since the show's on my channel, I decided the quote that we're going to be guided by, and it's difficult to find happiness within yourself. It's impossible to find it anywhere else. And so this whole show's kind of like, okay, that's real easy to say, but what do you do? How do I find it? Um, your vibe, your own vibration attracts the tribe that you bring around yourself. And you have to, and what I just talked about the fact I don't do politics much anymore, is that I don't do it because it was harmful to my sense of self and to what I wanted to achieve in this world. And the other thing that this today is based on is just one positive, thoughtful comment at the beginning of your day will make the whole day positive. And that's from the Dalai Lama. And another political thing. I saw a picture of Tim with the Dalai Lama.
He stole my heart. Yeah, I love them. I love them.
So
That's what Dr. Joe says that too. He talks about when you go to bed at night, when you wake up in the morning, if you have something positive to say to yourself. I'm not even going to say that positive. I'm going to say something empowering to say to yourself.
Something you want to embody, something you want to bring into yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're going to talk about ways to increase our vibration. And the quick outline is be aware of who you are and who you're with. And when you feel someone's dragging you back, you have every right to say no. And that's not being judgmental. It's taking care of your core. And then the other one is to do things that increase your life energy. And that can be everything from going out for a walk to watching a funny TV show. It doesn't have to be deep and thoughtful. It can be meditating and stuff, which is all well and good. It can be sketching something if you're an artist, or writing something down that you've meant to find the time for. And the last thought in this part of it is silence is really important. Silence is not just me shutting up to the outside world, to talking to the outside world. But it's also, silence is important to not let the noise inside you get so great. You know, to listen to it and let it go.
Yeah. And I know for me sometimes I'll easily find myself going online or something too when I want a moment of silence. And then I'll kind of catch myself thinking, maybe I should just abide right now and take a minute, take a hot minute.
Yeah, I have a lot of word games in solitaire that if I could get myself to be disciplined enough to pull it off my phone, I would probably have more time in my day.
Yeah. Yeah. Candy Crush. Kick that habit. Kick that bad boy a couple of years ago.
Oh, Candy Crush. Yeah, I had to let that one go.
Yeah. When they started talking about or doing things for online casinos, I thought, well, this game is so addictive. That's not a very nice thing. Yeah. That's not a very nice thing to have all these people that are, playing this little game see. So
anyway, I talked this over with Teri. I found an article about 11 points on how to raise our vibration. And I'd like to go over it quickly, and I promise this will be quickly. But because I thought there were some really good points in here, and it just reminded me of what I need to do, and therefore I assume other humans need to do the same thing, since I don't think I have a lot of bots out there watching my channel.
no.
The first one is change the behaviors that you want to no longer tolerate. And if you are having problems getting rid of them, write them down. Say, this is something I really want to look at it on a piece of paper. And so that can be a really way to kind of quickly raise your vibrations. And then the other one to light your vibrations, it's not always what we carry, but what do we want to do? What lights you up? That's the second one. And make time for it. A lot of times we'll say, oh, I really used to love doing that. And then that BUT word comes in, but well, get rid of the but, make the time for it, figure it out. Start your day, and we talked about this earlier, start your day with a thought about embodying the dream you want to live with.
Yeah.
And then the fourth one is let go of needing from the outside. And we talked about that. Do what you want to get in touch with what's on your inside. Quit thinking and when Terry and I were talking about this, people always come to me and we do readings. Well, can you tell me who my guide is? You know who your guide is. That's a kind of easy go for it inside yourself that you can do. And when, because that's giving someone outside of you way too much control. Now, I've seen their names and, I can help people get there, and I do private readings if you're interested in that. Okay. 5 is let go of the personality traits that you don't need anymore. And sometimes that's different than making a list of what you don't want to tolerate. But there's things we do personally that, we know we shouldn't do, like we run red lights or little unsafe things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. We use hand gestures when we drive, maybe.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing in this day and age.
No. Having your fingers all locked together can be a really important thing.
Yeah.
When the S hits the fan and you go, oh, well, that's going, and man, we've had 10 years of that. And we said, well, I'm just going to not let it shake I'm going to not look at the dark side of that. No, when the S hits the fan and it triggers that in you, acknowledge that it's been triggered and let that energy pass through you.
Yeah. Sacred rage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let it flow through you. And then 7 is speak positively to yourself. Instead of getting up and saying, oh, that t-shirt used to fit better. That was that ice cream sundae I indulged in. Don't judge yourself. Just zoom out, look at what your behaviors were and say, okay, I know there's a change. There's a change off for when I want to do something and when I want to not. And this one is the one that I think is probably, it should be at the top of the list, not the bottom. But it's look at your dark. Take the chance to look at your dark, because I'm going to tell you right now, there's no light at the end of the tunnel unless the tunnel's dark. And it doesn't mean you have to dwell there or live there or never leave there. Matter of fact, the sooner that you acknowledge it, the faster you can get to the light. And then you get to that light spot and you find out there's a brighter light spot.
Yeah. Ness is saying, for years I was mean to me, thinking it would make me safer. Right, Ness?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I really judged myself growing up. And I think that's kind of nice about it. As we get older, I think we judge ourselves less. But
Right.
Hopefully we do. But it is a big one to learn. Self-talk, what that sounds like, what it looks like, what it sounds like. Yeah.
And then this one's kind of disown your low self-esteem. And that can come from anything. Sometimes it comes from, I always get it when people say they're recovering Catholics. I know. I have so many friends that, I came from a church that was equally weird. Well, it's a Presbyterian church, but they have their own. They think only so many people are going to be saved. And then they say, you need to live a good life because you might be one of them. What the F am I doing then? If I'm not going to, there's no winning in this game.
Right. I'm out of here, man. I'm going to go get that hot fudge sundae.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to cut out of here. And then but they can be ethnic things too. You can be raised. I remember when I was in high school and they started telling Polish jokes, and I never understood them because all the Polish people I knew were really not lovely. I never understood the prejudice that came from.
Yeah.
But my friends who were Polish, a lot of them changed their names. Well, I live in a part of the country in Texas. I brought my hometown phone book with me. Remember phone books?
Oh, yeah.
I brought my hometown phone book in case there was anything I needed to find in my hometown when I was in Texas. And girls used to come in and read my phone book because they'd never seen names like that before.
Yeah, we've got that in KC too. There's KCK. Kansas City, Kansas is
Mm-hmm.
just like, my roommate for the longest time was she was a Miroslav,
Mm-hmm.
and great food, great churches, and the Catholic churches over there were interesting. One of them had a Black Madonna,
Mm-hmm.
and an amazing priest that had sore feet, and he'd yell at people when they come in. I haven't seen you here since Easter,
Mm-hmm.
but
And,
yeah,
and anyway, so forgive yourself and don't fall into, oh, I can't tell people my family has that bloodline, you know.
yeah,
And then um, meet your emotional tides with compassion. When you fly off in a handle and um, you just let that flow through and grow and learn to grow from it. I think we're all learning to grow right now. I think the most fun thing's been in the last couple of weeks is people finding joy in politics. People finding joy in going to those big mass meetings and getting to cheer for someone saying positive stuff.
yeah. I don't think there's the divisiveness that there was like in 2015 and forward. I
No, that's what they encouraged. They encouraged fear. What
Yeah,
these people are doing is encouraging hope and joy.
yeah, yeah.
Joy can unleash a lot. If when I was working for Obama's campaign, we had a thing in 2008 in a place called Reunion Arena. It was about to be torn down. It was owned by the city of Dallas, but we had 19,000 people packed in there to see Obama. And my son's, my youngest child's high school had the perfect number of kids to help us set them up as ushers and to help us run it. So I went over and taught them, and I knew all the teachers. She went to a charter school, and the charter school social studies teacher came along with it, and he was a Republican. He lived in a very red area, and he and I would talk politics. We could talk it because he just knew I was on a different side than he was.
Yeah.
And he I said, stay and watch this. He said, oh, I'm going to watch the speech. I got to stay here with the kids anyway. And when I ran into him after that meeting and reunion, he said, I've never seen politics like that. And he
Wow.
said, it was so empowering. And he said, hell, I might vote for that guy. And
Yeah, my late husband had been a Republican all his life, and
mm-hmm,
that's when he turned
mm-hmm.
Obama. Yeah, started voting Democrat. Yeah, PTSD from the last 10 years of chaos, right, Marianne?
Yeah, because
Definitely.
you can't ever get your feet underneath you.
Yeah, you can't. And when you were talking about all that, I was thinking about shame too.
Mm-hmm,
Sometimes we're shamed because we have grief or we have feelings or something happened last week or when we were 3 years old. But
mm-hmm,
um, shame's a big one. And changing the story on that, being curious about it. Like, well, what am I feeling that for
mm-hmm.
in this occasion? You know?
Well, I think my guides in particular kept me from a lot of shame. They were just like, oh, that happened. I mean, I really have the best guides in the world. Addie's just like, well, it happened, get past it. And she's not saying, don't look at it and don't set yourself up again.
Yeah.
But a lot of the things we were told when we were little aren't the truth. Matter of fact, I got a phone call from a cousin of mine. I only have one cousin I talk to. Well, the other ones, I don't even know where they went. But there were only two of them. I didn't have a lot of cousins. And this one lives up on the farm my mother was raised on in Canada. And she called me up and said, I wanted to talk to you about my grandson, George. George is 6. And I said, okay, what's with George? And she said, he was invited to go stay with some family on her husband's side. And they live in an old refurbished and completely beautifully redone old general store in a
Oh,
small
nice.
town in Canada. And they put George up in the guest room that night, and they came up at 10 o'clock, and he was just sitting up in the bed, just like bright awake. And she said, George, they said, George, what's happening? And he said, can you tell those people to go away? They keep knocking on my door and coming in. And they said, well, why don't we just move you out of this room down to a room that's closer to where we are so you can hear us? And she said within 20 minutes, he was asleep down there. And she said, what was that? and I said, does George stare into corners and laugh and giggle about things that you can't relate to at all? And she said, yeah. And I said, he's a physical medium. You need to get. So if anybody knows of a good physical medium in the London, Ontario area, I'd like her to get in touch with them, because George needs to talk to an adult who sees what he sees. My cousin, she kind of knows things, but she was raised in a more, she said, I wish I could do what you do. She's only a year younger than I am. And I said, well, you can if you want to, but she doesn't really want to.
Yeah, polish your skills. That's interesting. I know there's a few people here in the Ontario area. I don't know if they're here right now, but in the tribe in the mornings, there's people. Care Bear, are you, or is it Callie? I think it's Callie that's in Toronto. And I think, who else is? Or maybe it's not Toronto. Oh, never mind. Anyway,
Montreal?
it might be Quebec. Yeah,
that's in Montreal.
Yeah.
If you guys can just kind of give me
Melody's in Toronto.
Okay. Because she really would just like to talk to somebody to see how to help them. And I know that my mother never denied what I saw. She didn't like it. She used to tell me not to talk to people about it. And, okay, you know me as a full-grown adult. Can you imagine trying to tell little 6-year-old Nancy, don't talk about things?
Yeah. We lived out in an area. We had an old cornfield next to us and woods behind us. And the spirits used to walk by the front door all the time. And I'd look out and I'd see him. And I'm like, Mom, who's that guy? Who's that? Who's that?
Mm-hmm.
And I knew the ones that were my guides, but the ones that were just passing through.
Well, if they seek you out, if they really start seeking you out, and it's really, that is something that can be very traumatic for a child. Now, I think if George is strong enough to talk about it, and obviously the other adults have been around enough that they're not saying, let's get the holy water. But anyway, I told her to put some grounding stones around him to protect him, and for her, and to explain to George, these are here to help you, and they have energy that can protect you. I can do that, but I don't know. I made a deal with my guides a long time ago. They take care of all the extraneous people that walk around me. Where that's a problem now is now that I deal with elementals, they can't touch the fairies, and those little critters keep moving stuff around my office.
Oh yeah, I get that all the time. They moved around my cards the other day. They moved around a bunch of stuff. My phone.
Oh,
gone.
They don't touch my phone. They've got enough sense to leave me.
Yeah. Debbie says all it took was for my grandma to be mad at me for the first time. She yelled about me being taken away by the government. Wow. And there was some other stuff going on. Wow.
Well, in Ireland, they think you're going to get taken by the fairies, which the fairies say is the most unfair thing. They will take. There are some that will take a soul away for a while. That's what happened to Rip Van Winkle. That's what that story's about. But yeah, they have a history of, and people know if you can get across the river, if you can get to the other side of a river, they can't cross the water. So that's part of the legends of dealing with fairies. My fairies, I mess way too much. They won't take me anywhere. They get my dragon to drag me around.
That's funny. Yeah. Can they go over a bridge?
Not if there's water underneath it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes they are, bored spirits, and sometimes it's interesting, sometimes I think right now, the elementals, you've talked about that a lot lately,
Right.
Nancy Jean, that they're coming up, they're rising.
Oh, they're going to be here in grand splendor by December. So just get ready for it.
Yeah.
Um, I've had people send me pictures of the fairies in their gardens, and they're real. I mean, you can see them out there. Out.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of energy coming up right now, and, the ancient ones are coming up too, Earth, um, like the rock people,
Right. Well, that's what the
primordial.
elementals are. They're all
Yeah.
forms of that energy, and then kind of each culture gave them a face that sort of matched what their society needed. And look at dragons. There's not a culture in the old world or the new world, the continents we're on, or in Europe and Asia or Africa, that doesn't have a form of a dragon. And the dragons in the Orient were considered more benevolent. But by the time the dragons got over to the Indo-European cultures, they got a little rougher. But Buddhists, actually, there's a form of Buddhism where if you've seen their temples, they have big windows way up high. That's so the dragons can fly through.
Yeah.
And so they're benevolent. But our dragons in Europe they're going to drag the women away. They're always picking on women. You know, those bad guy stories. But what elementals truly are is they are um, they're on the earth like we are. They've been here for a long. They've been here since Pangea, and they have times that they're up. And the reason they went underground was really the major industrialization that started in the 16 and 1700s. And the more playful ones that people used to talk about, they'd see them out in the fields, wherever they were accepted, they were allowed to stay. So you can go to Mexico. And I did a show a year ago where the president of Mexico announced they were moving. They were rerouting a major part of the railway that they were planning to build us, because they took pictures. It was in their newspaper of the Alush, which that's their word for fairy. And the farmers in Mexico make deals with the Alush, and they said, come in and help us watch our fields, help us garden. And they can hear them sing and dance and be out there. And then at some point, you leave stuff for them. In Ireland, they used to pour a bit of milk out on the ground for them to have. And in Mexico, according to the legends Jeffrey and I could track down, they leave corn and maize and crops and things. And if they don't, then your crops fail or bad things happen to you. And one point, they built a big highway between where the airport is on the eastern coast of Mexico to this town that's a very, very touristy, popular place to be. And the road kept collapsing. I mean, literally, into the ground. And finally, they have a lot of native indigenous people that come and tell them the truth. They said to the government, you put this where they lived and you took away their home, and you need to rebuild their home. I have a picture of the little Mayan palace that's underneath the overpass that kept collapsing, and it has not collapsed since they built that thing.
Wow. When you go to the east, they have spirit houses,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them look like a big house, and some of them look like a temple, and you can put things inside them, offerings always, and things like that. But for the spirits, so living with you, they're very good about that, hospitable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We do have one question that came in when
Okay.
I posted it. So we're going to look at this. And I don't know if you want to do cards. Just think about it. I'm going to read cards. I finally finished my project. Well, I finally finished my project by September or October. It now looks like it might be February to May. That might be more realistic if you look at what's going on in the world of astrology. But can your guides tell me how to move through it? Blessings. Okay. So let's see. Guidance for Ness on her writing project. I'm going to use the Archangel Tarot cards. I really love them. They're beautiful cards, and I've always gotten really good wisdom out of them when I ask questions. So what you got, Teri?
I'm getting February and May. I just did a quick body check on it.
Okay.
Yes, and February and May feels a lot better. September and October feels like there's going to be something coming in, some sort of energy, not necessarily just to you, but to the country.
It's the world. It's
Yeah.
You can fight some things with something.
Yeah, it's our collective, spirit collective, but it's just keep your energies high to ride through that. I don't think it's going to affect you personally, but it's going to be a little draining, and it probably wouldn't be a good time to release anything either. I think February, May is going to be a time where things are going to be good. In the meantime, take care of yourself, lots of body care. And, you're going to have a big celebration when you get ready to release it. You're just going to let it fly. So those are really good cards, Ness.
Yeah, I got, this is your background on it. You've had the strength to do this job, and you've been given the strength and the wisdom to know how to do it. But it's a matter of timing. And it's also a matter of forgiveness. So don't push yourself when you can't. There's no reason to push. Right now, there's a good reason to wait because you're going to get more out of it. And this is financially as well. It gives you something else that's going to change your turn that's part of this project that's going to help you with the long-term planning, and it's going to make more sense if you wait that part out. And then the real blessing for this is if you push forward, you're going to get all involved in the drama of others and get in their fights and their ways. So you need to handle this the best way you can for yourself. And I think February to May, it just says rely on your own personal strength. You know what works best. And that's why you're not having a seizure over this. And this September and October, guys, the energy that's in the world is so different.
Yeah. Bottom of my deck, I had forgiveness.
Oh.
So, and I like that in the self-care. Just let it be. You don't have to do everything all the time. Boom, 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 boom.
And it pulls you away. A lot of the pressure that's been put on you to meet certain deadlines has not been your own pressure. It's been other people's. And this is what you get. For Michael, go rest. Go take some time to build a strong base. And if you look at this guy, he's got musical instruments around him and art and stuff. He's just kind of chilling. So that's the bottom of the deck.
She's saying she's been working 24/7 on it. She dreams it. You take a break, Ness. Take a break.
Mm-hmm.
It feels really good. Plus, the energy on the planet's going to be so welcoming.
Yes. By spring, guys, it's going to be changed.
Yeah.
It's going to be like we're going to be waking up from a bad dream. It's sort of like, do you remember the old Newhart show?
Oh my God, I loved him.
Yes. And then he did the second show where he was a psychiatrist.
Yes.
And then when that show ended, he woke up in the bed with his wife from the first series saying, I had this horrible dream that
That was so weird. I remember that now. Yeah.
That was because it was such a cardinal event, one that's new to us, because I don't think any of us had ever seen a TV show end like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah, the energy is just going to be kind of ramping up. And then when things get a little lighter, but just be aware of it. When we can watch it, we don't have to be a part of it.
No.
Yeah.
And if it does hit you, like I said, it's when you run into a BS show, say, oh, look at the interesting BS show that I now have to be sort of tied to for a minute and then let it go.
Yeah. Sometimes I do this thing when I remember and I'm being a good person to myself. I remember to think if tomorrow was my last day or if I had
Mm-hmm.
1 week left, what would I want to be doing? And what would I want to say to the people I love?
My daughter's resolution to that is it's not my monkeys, not my circus. Bye.
Yep. So true. So true.
Okay,
Yeah.
we've got a couple other questions that have popped up.
Oh, good.
Oh, catch you later. Let's see. I'm going to make sure I didn't miss anybody because it's hard to talk and read and handle cards and think. And
Yeah, it is. Hi, Kathy Gray. I'm glad you caught this too. Oh, Ness says eclipses in September and October.
mm-hmm,
Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of action going on. It's people are scared and they're acting out.
mm-hmm.
And then everything settles.
You
So,
know, and now's when they should be most scared and they're not acting out. So I think a lot of their acting out is when we face bullies and we think, oh, they're going to come get me. And they're not,
yeah.
you know, they're
Yeah.
not. I already told you why bullies don't come visit me. I have a guide named Frank who can fill a room with just his in his old leather coat and just say, boo. Um, let's see. We've got a couple questions, and you were good people and you put them in capitals, so we'll put them up. May I have a message from my Elvis impersonator guide? Don't step on your blue suede shoes. No.
What was it that he used to say, Elvis? Good morning, or something like
Mhm.
that. But he's hmm.
I don't know. I'm going to pull from my very classy looking medieval deck for an Elvis question, but I don't have any rock and roll cards. I did order some new things. A site showed up in my emails, and I don't know what the name of the store is, so please don't put in the chat what was the name of the store. But they were selling out everything at $7.99 a deck, including decks I knew I'd paid full freight for. And the ones I found that I really wanted were cat decks to go with my cats.
Oh, I love those. Um, he was there a movie that he did called Blue Angel? Because
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember that song, but it keeps bringing that in, the Blue Angel,
Mm-hmm.
um, which Carl kind of makes me feel like the Palladian energy. But we've got all sorts of blue light coming in right now. Um, love and accept yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
that's all we've been talking about here tonight. And I love all the hearts. They're all around her crown chakra and her upper chakras. So speaking kindly to yourself, Carl,
Mm-hmm.
seeing yourself clearly um, for your divine light. You know, sometimes we look in the mirror and we say, "Oh, you could lose a little weight, or you got to get your roots done, whatever." um, love and accept yourself. Also, peace and harmony. So,
Mm-hmm.
oh, Archangel Raguel. Thank you, Raguel, for surrounding my life in a harmonious light.
Yeah, Raguel's the one who helps you negotiate with other people.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
what I got for you is to really remember to reconnect with people. You sometimes you tend to cut people off, and that you have some new interesting people coming around your life right now. And this is his message to you about him. just look for me and I'm there. It's faith. This is the
Wow.
equivalent of the Hierophant in a regular tarot deck. So just look for me and you'll find me and I'm there. And that's his message, is learn to listen to him.
He says, why does my guide look like Elvis in the first place?
Because you undoubtedly, some part of you relates to that look,
Yeah.
you know.
Also, there's a lot of harmony with Elvis, isn't there?
I
mean,
don't
the
sense
music.
harmony with Elvis, but then I know too much about Elvis. But
Yeah.
it depends on how you know about a person, would make a difference. But I think for a lot of guys that would be my age, I mean, he was sort of a little bit older than we were, and he was sort of what everybody. I remember my older brother trying so hard to get that slick back black hair, you know, and the DA, you know, the way they comb their hair in the back, so it looked like it was a duck's butt. Um,
Yeah. He says, yeah, I need chutzpah. Right. Yeah. He was magnetic.
oh no, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
when you run into people like that, and they become a legend in their own right, you know, it's.
Yeah.
I saw the Beatles the first time they toured the U.S. Actually, I saw them 3 times, and I saw them every time they came through Chicago. And even though they were little nuts off on that stage, and this before they had the big screens that let you see their faces and everything. And one time I saw them in a baseball park, and then they really were little dots in the middle of the field. But the energy was there. Just the, you know, the kind of, and so, and like I said, when I met Obama and he got out of the car, it's the first time I'd felt that kind of jolt of energy since I was 15 years old and I saw the Beatles.
Did you get to meet him?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
And
Yeah.
he's fantastic. His wife, Michelle, first of all, she's 6 feet tall. And I met her several times because she came through Dallas quite a bit. And she always had us arrange things where she could talk to kids from different sort of schools. And she always wanted to have young teenagers, girls. She did the most beautiful speeches to them about being who they are and holding out for what they really needed.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
And
were
here's a lady.
amazing.
Mhm.
Oh, Marianne. I believe in miracles and I need one right now. Marianne, I would just want you to recognize that you're a miracle for us being in
Mhm.
this community. So your energy, your light, your art, she's an incredible artist.
Mhm.
I don't think you realize what you bring to the table, honey. But are we going to read on this?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That was Teri talking.
That was Teri. Well, I hope it was Teri. I don't know who got my StreamYard link. It wasn't Teri.
Oh, is your Elvis alien? I'm like I said, I'm feeling a lot of Palladian energy around him.
Yeah.
She says, "Don't make me cry." Well, you know, if you're an empath, it's not a party till somebody cries. Oh, okay. Nature, this is you, honey.
Mhm.
Painting. So she looks like she's painting that tree or whatever she's doing
Mhm.
there. But I hope you're taking some time for that. It feels like, I don't know if they want you to have this new love. This can be a new love for yourself. This can be a romantic thing, but it doesn't have to be. It can also be a new modality that you're looking at.
Mhm.
Like Marianne, if you're looking at a new modality of art or a new modality of healing or working with energy, I think it's working with energy because then I get enchantment.
Mhm.
So, and still he's in nature, right?
Mhm.
But Yeah, something that you're going to find enchanting, I think. And I like that thing of if this was going to be your last day or your last week.
Right. What would you do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where would you want to be? Um, this is the card I got for you. It's self mastery. Learn, and it's the topaz, which I think is a beautiful stone. And the guide on self mastery, I read from what these people put in the books about what they make because they spent a lot of time developing this. So we need to listen to what they're talking about. Self mastery. And the animal that's connected to that is the spider. And you are your own master and always have been and always will be. And it's time to embrace all of who you are in your own totality. This card says that it's time to take your mastery to a whole new level. Life is full of opportunities and lessons to guide us to the realization everything we require lies within us, and we have all of our own answers to our own questions. When we take the time to honor and awaken our own master within, only then do we have the aspects of ourself for all the opportunity. So to master something takes time, commitment, discipline, strength, and courage. And you have all of these in great abundance right now. Self-mastery.
Yeah. She says she's been listening to Krishna Das a lot too.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It feels like you're kind of channeling him through your art or something, Marianne.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes people make comments and I don't remember what I was saying when you made the comment. It comes like, when did I think that? mm, mm. Yeah, we're all waiting. We're all in a state of anticipation. We are, and I'm going to talk to somebody else about this later today. It's not going to be a show, but it's to get some ideas about some things I've been thinking. But there's some major planets that are all going to be shifting from one sign to another. And we're actually having more of them shift in the next year and a half than we have. Some astrologers who they have it all on their computer and they can spin it back and look. We've never had that much massive outer planet change. Now you got to realize um, Pluto changes it it takes 248 years to go around the 12 signs. So it stays a long time on things. That's why you have, when you talk to astrologers, they'll talk about generational planets. If you're born in a certain time, then y'all are going to have Jupiter and Leo.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have, and that sort of colors what your generation does in the long term. Then all the little planets spin around and they do their deal. But we've got a lot of major planets moving right now. And I remember when I was watching some generational planets, and it was in 2019, and I kept reading about how in January 12th, 2020, these planets were all going to get together in Capricorn. And whenever they had done that before, all hell broke loose. I mean, literally. I mean, it called in the plague. It was the exact same day as when Martin Luther had put his treatises on the Catholic Church door and broke up the Holy Roman Empire. Big things, big historical things. And I remember taking note and going, okay. And then going on about my little planet. And
Mm-hmm.
and it's not little, but the moon, you can watch it every month if you want to see how things change. Well, then January 12th came and went, and the world didn't split apart, and I didn't hear about anybody putting treatises on any church doors or anything. And yet, that is the day that the NIH got the information about COVID.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
wow.
And there's a documentary, and it's on Prime, and I don't know where you can find it, but it's called "The Astrology of a Pandemic." And if you want to understand at least one person's point of view, they're what they call archetypical astrologers. They follow those big planets. They follow them around and they follow them through history. And then you can really see how the system works. But and I'm sure most people in this community, you've seen Andre Carr, the astrologer. His name is from an old family friend. He comes from a generations of astrologers, by the way. He was named after an astrologer named Andre Barbeau. That's his namesake. And Andre Barbeau wrote in 1988 that he was that kind of an astrologer. He said, by what I see in 2020, there'll be a world plague. And he put together the conjunction. I mean, if you want to know about long-term, I mean, there's all kinds of astrologers who do all kinds of stuff. I find that kind of astrology particularly fascinating. But I also think it helps us get a perspective on how to use our own astrology for ourselves. And I know Dorothy Morgan was in the chat.
Wow. Yeah, she was. She was. Rossi says, I bought masks in January 2020. I was looking at info from China and something told me to buy them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Anyway, and all those things, I mean, so we've got a lot of major planets that are going to be meeting. Now, there are also, if you look at some of this work, what's his name?
Andre?
No. The astrologer, the one who's very well known for having led a lot of this. He's out of California. He wrote a book about cosmos, and I can find that because it's in my Audible books because I listened to it. And if you want to kind of go look at it a little, not just take the reader that was on the show on Monday. Come on, Audible books.
Dorothy's here. She piped in.
Mm-hmm.
She's working on a full moon forecast for August 19th.
That's right. And she has a daily broadcast that you can find on her channel. You can also, if you watch shorts on YouTube, you can see them. They are really, really good.
Oh, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Hi, Dorothy.
Cosmos and the Psyche, and the astrologer's name is Richard Tarnas, Tarnas. And it's a lot of his work that people used to look at the pandemic. And he has an interesting history too.
So are they talking about this January 11th and 12th again? Or is
No.
Okay.
These guys won't meet again for like 500 years. Thank God.
Yeah.
But there is another coming together. Okay. I'm going to look for Melody's question if she
It's
put
at
it
12:50 my time.
Okay. I'm looking for it. What they're talking about is there's going to be another major conjunction of big planets in August of 2026, and I have all they keep alluding to it, but nobody's saying what it is. And I'm not an astrologer. Don't play one on TV. I can't find. Can someone type in?
I can read it.
Okay.
She says, I am busting my rear looking for work, turning over every rock looking. What do you see for me?
Okay. Do you know what time she put that in?
12:50 my time. 12:50.
Okay. I'm in the
right above Rossi.
Okay. Well, we'll look at it if I can get it up on the screen. I hate listening to questions being answered when
Melody,
I do.
Can you just post it again too, dear? That might be easiest.
Yeah, you guys have no idea what we're looking at here.
Yeah. And yes, Marianne, I will go to Crete with you. I've been there before and I love that island.
That has some interesting. Did you go to the mega structures that the Giants built? Did you go see those?
I did not go see those. I went to the famous museum there and
Mm-hmm.
saw this little tiny Medusa that is the divine feminine. Oh my God. Amazing, amazing sculptures.
Okay, Melody. If you want me to see your question, you need to put it in bold. I mean, in caps. But okay. Okay. I wish I had my garden out. My garden's much better on time than if you can talk about it for a second, I can set my garden up because it's
Okay.
in
Yeah,
here.
I can talk about it. So just doing some um, stuff on it. It looks like December,
Mm-hmm.
January, February. It feels like February, March, Melody. Something really comes in. I don't know if you're going to be taking something before then. And they're showing me 3 different ways that you can go, Melody. So you might get 3 different offers, or you might take a job in between.
Mm-hmm.
But something about the number 3. So either this, the people that offer it to you, there's a 3 in there. So dream, manifest, dream about what you want, and feel yourself already in it. Like, don't dream about what you want. Like, this is what I want. Go into it, and when you look at it and manifest it, you already have it, and you're giving thanks for it.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure that you put down everything that you want from them. Like, you want nice people to work with. You want them to be trustworthy and kind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in the meantime, bring harmony into your life. So, and take care of yourself. There might be something that you need to surrender and release. So, this is my favorite card in this deck. And this
Mm-hmm.
angel is carrying this urn. And we all do this. We carry like a big bucket that you put all your junk in. And sometimes we put everybody else's junk in it too and carry that. And your bucket gets really heavy. So, if you've got something that you're carrying, an old way of thinking, or something that happened they keep poking at me and saying it's something that happened on the at the old job maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So if something happened there, release it, surrender.
Mm-hmm.
Just let her fly.
Okay. This is the garden, and the reason I wanted to do it is this time. That's winter, spring, summer, fall. And what I see is fall into early winter is when you're going to get this. It's going to happen because that's what the stones fell. Because I asked about a timing thing. But what's ever going on about you and work is very, very fundamental to your core because all the stones except for spirit fell in the earth, fire, water, and air. And that's the very core of us. And then as you go out into the garden, you get to the tree of life and the crown chakra and future and present. But this is core to where you are right now. And the way I interpret these is this is body, mind, spirit, values, and clarity. And I'm going to start with your values, which are in air. And when it's in air and in water, you're making me work, girl. There's a lot of, a lot of spaces here. It's not like one card. Mental actions, your mental feelings are the path to your abundance. And something happened last spring that kind of sprung it for you, and that's why, and that's drifting away because you're going into grounding changes that you're going through right now are setting up long-term patterns. So it's really important that you listen to what your mind and your clarity and your body. Now, your body is in water, and it says that you're going to get closer to what you really want when you get grounded in what you really want. So I think some of what Teri was saying about write a good list, that, I mean, down to the color of the chair you're sitting in, or whether you're in a cubby or an office with a door, or
A window and a tree.
whatever kind of work you do, define the space that you feel most comfortable in, because your mind which is in fire. And fire represents our ancestors or our past lives. And your mind is, do not be tied to the false energy of the past. And you got restate up here, and that's there's something that's tying you to I can't do anything else. You're not looking at the full range of what you learned to you're not presenting your full set of job skills, but you will, because it says restate. It's kind of like all these garden spots. When I had the visions, when I saw these, they were all different kinds of gardens, from a British formal garden to a wild meadow to a marsh. But this one, when I woke up the night I had the dream about it, I was just in the most overgrown mess you've ever seen. But every plant that was in there was worth knowing. But it was just all overgrown and it made no sense. So restate means dig through the plants, look and pull out the ones you want to keep and cultivate them. Okay, so that's how you work restate with your mind. Your clarity is also on fire, and use ideas from your past lives. You've had other job skills you brought in. You settled for some lesser job skills. You should think bigger for yourself, because you've got a lot of past lives helping the solution. And it's amazing when you go in to do a job that you had in a past life, it's like all this information just pours through your head into your system. It really helps you. And your spirit is in the past, and that makes sense too. Okay, you're going through a complete transformation. I left the best for last. And it's already happening right now. I think you're going to trip into this job this fall, and there's going to be a part of you that hangs back here. You're going into some long-term life changes. And you may feel like, well, I'm more comfortable. I'm happier doing what I know how to do. Take the leap of faith, girl. You're in the position of the fool right now in the tarot. And I see it coming. The first leads, you're going to be into this job in the fall. And by December, you're going to be grounding in it and flowing forward. So
Beautiful.
And you've turned over every rock in my garden to find out where you're supposed to go. So what can I? That's how the garden works, kids.
I like that timing better.
Mm-hmm.
I said I like that timing for her better.
Well, I told when I was informed by those things that inform me that are beyond me, that I was going to have to create this thing, this new tool to use for people to understand it. This is its baby version. It's going to grow. But I said, I want timing. I'm so sick of sitting there with a deck of cards saying, but it could be 5 days from now, 5 months, 50 years. I don't know. The worst was when people say, am I going to meet the love of my life? And I'm going to cut this off now because we're at an hour, but am I going to meet the love of my life? And I used to say, we're going to say, we're going to put a timeline in here, put 2-3 years, something on it, because I don't want that person to be 45 years out from now. And for 44 years, you're spitting mad because that stupid reader in the wine bar couldn't find them. And they said he was here. Anyway, do you want to say goodbye?
Yes, goodbye.
Okay. Yeah, I want to say goodbye too. And the wisdom is to face the world with joy, to not be afraid of the dark things that happen around us, to let them pass through us. The problem with the dark things is when we hang on to them. Thank you all for coming today. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thanks so much, everybody.